Hello! I just got back from a road trip with my parents. My mom retired just last month as a teacher, and so my dad and I took her to go to Yellowstone as a fun little trip. And so I did a little bit of filming, didn't do a ton, but I did do some, so I wanted to share some of that with you and then talk a little bit about taking a very long road trip with a J pouch. We're at Yellowstone.
I said there's no guarantee of your safety of your hiking.
So, what was it like traveling in a car for a full week with a J pouch? So some of the things that I brought with me to prepare, I had a package of Good Wipes. One package actually lasted me, we left Saturday morning, and then we actually got back, we weren't gonna come back until Friday, but we actually got back late Thursday night. One package of wipes got me that whole time, so that was perfect. I also brought my travel bidet that I got on Amazon. It's only $10. And I didn't use that one as much, but it was an option, if I ran out of wipes, or if I was having more higher output and it was a little irritated, the bidet was a good option. So I had that as well. I also had some little travel size, they were about this big, of Calmoseptine. That way I didn't have to bring the whole big tube. They worked perfectly. And then I also packed a ton of liquid IV because I knew even though it's cooler temperatures than here in Texas, it was still hot and we were gonna be outdoors a lot and I did not want to get dehydrated. I also packed medicine that I have as needed, and I actually didn't need to take it, but it's always good to pack it as well. I have a prescription for Lamodal, which is basically like taking the anti-diarrheal. It's just a little bit stronger since it's a prescription. I also had Zofran for nausea if I didn't feel good. So those were some medications that I had just in case I needed them, but thankfully I didn't. So those were the main things that I packed for traveling with a J pouch. So what was it like? I would say, because I don't really count it anymore, but I probably go between 6 to 8 times a day. Because I don't count it, because usually I go when I go to pee. So more times than not, I'm not having to go because I need to empty my J pouch. It's more I have to pee and then that muscle just loosens and I empty my J pouch while I'm going to the bathroom. So it really wasn't bad because we were stopping anyways to get gas, or one of us had to go pee. So it was perfect timing. I was never feeling urgency. And like I said, we stopped often enough to make sure the tank was full, potty break. So I didn't feel like I was having any issues as far as like the traveling part. The main thing is making sure you're hydrated. I really didn't want to feel sick on this trip from being dehydrated, which I have felt, nausea from dehydration before. It's never fun. So I did not want to experience that on this trip. So once we finally got to Yellowstone, there was a day that we were out a lot, and while we had waters in the car, I just knew that from the heat I was dehydrated, and even drinking a full water, I knew I was gonna need to drink more. So whenever we got back to our Airbnb, I used Liquid IV. I also like Drip Drop. Both brands are great and they've helped me get out of dehydration. Liquid IV has a little bit more sugar than Drip Drop, so either one I think is a good option. Just if you're looking at maybe having less sugars, I would go with Drip Drop versus Liquid IV, but that's just what I had on hand. And I ended up drinking 2 of those. So I had a full water bottle with Liquid IV, sucked that down, and then I had another one before bed. So that way I was making sure I was really hydrated and I wasn't gonna feel bad the next morning. And I felt great the next morning, so that was wonderful. But yeah, Yellowstone was so much fun. They have bathrooms throughout the park, so that wasn't an issue. I really wasn't sure what to expect, but they even have like service stations. So if you need to get gas in the park, they had, restrooms, they had snacks. So there was spots. Fun fact, if you do go to Yellowstone, so they have more frequent, more of potable water bathrooms. But if you go to the areas that are the bigger areas with a service station, they have a normal restroom with flushable toilets. And so I was able to use those. I think we were there almost the whole day. We left early morning to get there. We were maybe 30 minutes away where our Airbnb was. And then we were there until late afternoon. And I think I only went 2 or 3 times. Mainly it was I would have to pee. So I only went a couple times in the park, but it was nice to know that they had restrooms and actual real restrooms, even though I'll use whatever, but it was nice to have a flushable toilet and things like that. So, but yeah, And then on the way back, we stopped at Mount Rushmore. Same kind of thing. They have restrooms. They have some before you actually get in, and then they have a few along the way if you go do the little walk around. So it was very IBD friendly. It was nice to see that they had restrooms along the way, and you're not having to worry about finding a restroom in case you have any issues. That was my experience traveling with my J Pouch on a very long road trip. We went through 7 states. So from Texas, we went to New Mexico, and then we went through Colorado, ended up in Wyoming, and then we went over to South Dakota, and then Delaware, Kansas, and Oklahoma before we got back to Texas. So yeah, it was a lot of being in a car, but I think with my ostomy it would have been fine too. I just where my ileostomy was, it was more high output because, you know, my J pouch was already formed, and so she was a high output gal, so we might have had to stop more. I would have had to use the little pouches to help thicken everything up in my ostomy bag. With my J pouch, I honestly never thought that it would be this great with a J pouch, and it has been. I was able to travel and no issues. I do still look for bathrooms. It's good to know where they're at, but it was really nice knowing I could go a longer amount of time than previously. So life with a J pouch, you can definitely do a lot of traveling with it. So yeah, I just wanted to share my experience going on a long road trip without my colon and how things like that went. So it was a great experience, and I am looking forward to more vacations with the J pouch life. So anyways, I know it has been a bit since I've posted, but I hope to put out more videos. If there's anything that you want to learn or anything you would like to know about life with a J pouch, inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, or if there's more videos that you want to see, like day in the life, what I eat, which typically it varies what I eat in a day, but how my J pouch tolerates things, anything along those lines, feel free to put it in the comments below. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I try to put out videos along the lines of my ulcerative colitis, J pouch life, even when I had an ostomy, things along those lines. But I am open to suggestions, so just comment down below if there's something that you'd like to see. Until next time, I will see you in the next video.